Good day everyone and welcome to my Sacred Valley transmission. I've been building you guys up for I think 11 days now with a countdown. So I've been pretty excited to do this video. Sorry that I'm not showing a proper background. My house doesn't have many rooms. My working desk and writing desk is in my bedroom. So I just prefer you guys not seeing my bed at this point. Also, my camera's not that great, as you can see it's flickering a bit. But I'll upgrade all my technology to do better videos in the future. So the purpose of the transmission today is to make a couple of exciting announcements for the Sacred Valley horror novel series. If you guys have been following me, you'll know what these novels are all about, but I will explain them as we go along. I've got some news for the first novel, Sacred Valley Betrayal, the second novel, Sacred Valley Obversion, and the Sacred Valley Lanternbearers, which I'll explain when we get there. And then I'll just conclude with a few notes about other things that are happening in my writing career. If you see me looking down, I do have my notes written down on the side. I don't want to forget anything. So first of all, let me explain the Shaun and Jooste universe. That's how you pronounce my surname, Jooste, not Jooste or Jooste or anything like that. It's Jooste, Jooste. And I decided to make the universe much like the Marvel Cinematic Universe because there's a lot going to be happening with all my books, and I like to tie in my books with one another. Like you'll get a bit of my fantasy main character in my horror series if you look out for that Easter egg. So I've decided to call it the Shaun and Jooste universe as well, to go with the same trend. And I just quite like the sound of it actually. So, you know, that's the branding going forward for a lot of the things I'm going to be doing in terms of video games, TV series, movies, merchandising, anything like that. So I'm going to try and have these transmissions regularly. I'm not going to say monthly or quarterly or whatever. Whenever there's big news to be shared, then I will do more of these transmissions in the future. Okay, so before we break out into the first novel, I thought I'd just cover the inspiration for these books for the Sacred Valley series. As many of you know, and I'm more speaking to those of you who don't know, the books, horror novels, are inspired by the Silent Hill games made by Konami. For those who don't know, it was originally a Silent Hill book series, but which I got permission in 2014 from Konami. But then when Konami started doing new things for the Silent Hill brand in 2022, then they revisited like all these permissions or anyone else who was doing Silent Hill things, and they re-looked at it and decided, no, well, they're going to pull back because they want to protect the IP. So I was no longer allowed to use the Silent Hill name. So I had to rename everything Sacred Valley and remake the first book and half of the second book, because I was already halfway through Obversion when I had to change the name. So there are still Easter eggs to Silent Hill. I do make some references to Silent Hill as an alternate universe, but basically that is why it's still inspired by Silent Hill. And a lot of the things are like the game mechanics and like the Silent Hill stories, but yeah, it's my own thing now. Alright, so for Sacred Valley Betrayal, the first thing I want to note is that the audiobook is now live. It went live today, so when you go from this video to Amazon, you will see that another option to buy the book is through the audiobook. I have made it the same price as the ebook, and also it was done through the Amazon virtual voice assistant. which basically it's a beta form of the voice assistant. It was offered to me. My books were made eligible, so I decided to try it. Now, I know a lot of people don't like AI, and I know a lot of audiobook readers are probably sour at that. But the thing is, I had wanted to do an audiobook for a very long time, but I wasn't going to pay anyone to do it. I was wanting to do it myself. I mean, us as writers, we already make as little as we can, as we do, and we don't have the kind of funding to pay audiobook readers, and also how long they take. And I just don't have any personal relationships with audiobook readers. I also don't want to have to deal with any other human when it comes to these books. So when the invitation was given to me by Amazon, I took it with with eyes wide open, arms wide open, and I decided to test it out, which is great because I'm going to have a video series on the virtual voice assistant for anyone else who gets invited and wants to use it, so they can see how it works. And it's not simply an AI voice that reads your book like a robot. It actually has tones, themes, you can choose voices. I must say, with the dialogue, it's remarkable in a lot of places where I actually got goosebumps with how real it sounded. I could edit the pronunciation. I could put in pauses. So I had basically went through the whole audiobook and edited it. I didn't just give it to an AI and it did it and that's it, which is great. So there were a lot of things I could add, a lot of things that I wanted to change. How I just can't change how things were said. Like, I can't make it whisper, I can't make it shout, but it picks those things up from the text if you've typed it right. So I'm happy with the audiobook now as it stands. I'm hoping with the beta testing that there's more features being added so that I can enhance the audiobook further. Also, it is linked to the Amazon ebook, so everything is connected. If I make changes to the ebook, the audiobook automatically updates. It will keep all my edits, which is great. It makes it very efficient. So I hope you guys enjoy the audiobook experience. When you buy it, it is available on Audible too. I'm just really glad that for those of you who prefer listening to the audiobook than reading, you will now have that chance. It's 13-hour long audiobook, so it's quite a lengthy one. So you'll be able to enjoy it in your car rides. And yeah, the idea, besides Amazon offering me this chance, I was speaking to Molly McCabe, who wrote Dark Bloom, her post-apocalyptic horror novel, and through our discussions on Discord in the Dark Veil Society group, she mentioned that she doesn't really have time for reading, so she prefers to get the audiobook for her long trips to work and all that. And that was another inspiration as to, well, I'm sure there are a lot of people like that who would love to read the book, they just don't have time. So both the invitation to do the voice assistant and Molly's discussions about how it's just easy for her to get through a book on audiobook were the reasons I decided, well, let's do this. Okay, so another big announcement for Sacred Valley Betrayal is that I'm busy with a companion book to it. Now, I always wanted a bestiary for my novels, including my fantasy novels for the Selenic Earth Chronicles. But the books are already so big, I couldn't find the heart to add more to it. So now I'm going to be having a companion book for all my books, but starting with Sacred Valley Betrayal, which will include all the maps, but it will be blank maps, because currently in my novels the maps have crosses and little things that the characters are putting in, like in the games, as they come across new, like locked doors, broken roads, all those type of things. So I want to give you guys blank maps where you can use a pencil and do your own markings as a fun adventure. while you're reading to mark things or make your own little notes, because there are puzzles in my horror novels, because like I said, it's based on the games. So you can make notes to try and solve those puzzles before it's revealed in the novel. Um, there will be notes on the locations, like little write-ups about each location they passed. And, in the Darcwurld, there will be a bestiary of each creature, there will be character listings, there will be item images and descriptions. So it's a whole compendium. If you've played Doom, The Dark Ages, on that's just come out by Bethesda, you'll see there's a codex. It will basically be like the codex. Or even just breaking up each section into categories. So that's another thing that's coming. Then for Betrayal, I'm also working on ideas for a visual novel game. So, one day I do want these to be games, first-person explorer survival games, like Silent Hill. But like the PT demo Silent Hills, or the latest Silent Hill Memories. But for now, I would like to make a visual novel game with just images, dialogue with audio narration, and choices that you can make to then drive the story in different directions, explore different things. I mean, in my Betrayal novels, in all the Sacred Valley novels, because it's inspired by Silent Hill, there are 5 different endings. Besides the canon ending, there's a canon ending. Then there are 2 good endings, alternative ones, 2 bad endings, and a joke ending. So very much, remember this was a Silent Hill book, so I want to keep those themes for the Sacred Valley books. So in the visual novel, I would like the same thing, where you can basically, based on the decisions you've made throughout the visual novel game, you will then get a specific ending. So which means you can replay it, make different decisions to get a different ending. That type of thing. Then a little fun thing that I want to do is little comic strips. I'm not making comic books yet. I do have some contacts of people that could possibly turn my Sacred Valley books into comic books. But you know how in the newspapers every week there used to be like just a little comic strip of like a few panels? So my website and my newsletters will start having those for each of my books, starting with Betrayal. Just to give you a teaser of the books for those of you who haven't bought it, and even those who have read my book, it's just for fun for you to enjoy. Another rather big announcement for Betrayal is that I've started writing a TV series script. I am a screenwriter. I've written 2 scripts before. I wrote one for the CineQuest Screenwriting Festival in 2014. I didn't win, obviously, but I came back with very good feedback saying it's got solid story, which is great. But I never pursued letting that get picked up ever, but I will start that again. And then I started writing a script for a Chinese fantasy story in English, but after a year, I know how it works. I know the guys keep changing their minds and adding new ideas, but after a year of working on it, and then him just flipping the coin for what felt like just trying to get out of paying me, because I hadn't been paid, I would have only been paid at the end. So after what felt like he was flipping the script just to get out of paying me, I just left the project. So now I'm working on a TV series script for Sacred Valley Betrayal. The idea is a 3-part limited series per book. So there will be a 3 seasons for each book, but for Betrayal first. And each season in the limited part series will be 10 episodes and will focus on one act of the book. If you've read my books, each act is based on a location, and they could actually be 3 separate books on their own. But so each season will focus on an act, and then by the end of the 3rd season, that's the end of that series. So I didn't want to make a season per book. I want a limited 3-part series, which will be quite nice. But there's little things I would like them to do with this series, for which Netflix would be great. If not, we'll try it with any other platform, but I'm going to keep that a secret for now, because I don't think they've tried something like this before. So I don't want to give anyone else the ideas. Then just small things, nothing major for Betrayal further. There's going to be featured YouTube videos on my channel, because I just redid my channel with new playlists, new banners, everything. So you'll be seeing in the next few weeks featured little videos to tease you and hopefully get you more interested in the book. Also, I'm going more into merchandising. I started with my fantasy series, but I will also start doing that for my horror novels, starting with Betrayal, of course. So that's all the big announcements for Betrayal. I hope you guys are excited about that. So let's move on to the next one. Alright, so we're going to move now to the second one, which is Sacred Valley Obversion, which you guys know. And I'm popping up the roadmap on the screen now. And as you can see, I was meant to be done writing the book at the end of May, which is today. I'm almost there. I have 3 chapters left, with all these news and announcements, and also getting a new job in the online content writing. I've had to cut back a bit, but I'm 3 chapters done, which should be in the next week or 2. And then I'm still on board for editing, finished editing by the end of July, so we should be back on track. I have someone who's willing to edit my book with me. I'm going to do it first, and then she will. I've worked with her for years on not only editing books, but articles, working with companies together, doing some of the editing for some of my current clients. So I'm happy that she's going to look at that. And then there is going to be an audiobook launch also for Obversion at the same time. So when I do the virtual voice assistant for Obversion, it gives me another chance to edit while I'm listening to the voice. So that will be great. So we've got the book coming out at Halloween at the end of October, and also the audiobook at the same time. So it will be audiobook, ebook, paperback, and hardcover. Now, this has been a long time coming. I finished the original Silent Hill Betrayal in 2016 and published it then. I started Obversion and I promised you guys, I think in 2018, 2019, that I'd have it done. Then COVID happened. I got a new job. I left council that I'd been working with for 15 years, went into online content writing. That was my main focus. Then Silent Hill Konami came back and said, you need to change it. You can't keep it Silent Hill anymore. So I had to redo the first book, redo the second half of the second book. So it's just been a crazy ride. I mean, it's been 8 years now, and I'm really sorry. Going forward, now that I have full focus again on my novels, hopefully this won't happen again. But we're finally there. We're finally at the final stretch. And a lot of you have been waiting for this. I know there's like almost 1,000 purchases between the original Silent Hill and the Sacred Valley remake, which I appreciate. Thanks a lot, guys. So yeah, that's I still call it Silent Hill. Sacred Valley Obversion, guys, coming out in October. I hope you're all as excited as I am. Let's move on. Now I want to touch on Sacred Valley Lanternbearers. This is something new that started this month, because I've never known about ARC reviewers, which is advanced reading copies. So basically, the author sends out advanced copies to whoever's interested, or a group of readers. And what happens is they give feedback, and then they review the book when it comes out, when it's launched, so that there are already a couple of reviews when the launch comes out. Now, I thought long and hard about this, especially with discussions with the Dark Veil Society that I'm part of. And I've realized that advanced reading copies, or ARC, is really actually quite important to bringing awareness to our books, but also to see what readers think before you even publish. Now, I didn't want to just hand them out to anyone who's interested. Um, because I want this to be a journey for whoever is involved. I mean, if I get to book 4 and it's a whole bunch of new readers and they don't know what's happened previously in the series, it's actually quite a mess. I've seen reviews on my second fantasy novel where I got a 3-star, and the person said perhaps it would have helped if I'd read the first book, because then I would have understood a lot of what happened in this book. So now, even though Sacred Valley Obversion is a standalone, there is an overall arc, and you need to understand a lot of things of what's happening in the overall theme, even though it's its own story and its own characters, new locations, new creatures, all that. So I didn't want to just send out to whoever is interested. I wanted a group that I could trust, which I called the Lanternbearers. But right now they're Ember Watchers. They're potential Lanternbearers. We're going to go through a phase where they're going to first read, and I'll send out the books by today, your copies. And there's only going to be 7. 7 is a very important number to the series, and I want to keep it as low as possible, with as many as I'd like, as 7. So I'm going to send. I've only got 4 at the moment. There isn't that big an interest yet, and I don't know if the 4 will remain, because as Ember Watchers you're going to have a trial period of first reading the first book. No, you don't have to read the whole thing, but as much as you can within a month. I mean, it's 162,000 words, for Pete's sake, and the audiobook comes to 13 hours, so I don't expect you to read the whole thing in a month, but enough that you know whether you like this book or not. I mean, I would ideally like the Lanternbearers to give my books a star rating between 3 and 5. And it's not a bribe. I'm not trying to force anyone to do high stars. The thought here is that if you're going to give it a 1 or 2 star, which means you don't really like the book, why would you want to stay? Because all of them are going to be like that. I want people in the Lanternbearers that are enthusiastic about my project, that really enjoy these books so much that they can give it a 3 to 5 stars. So we'll go through the trial period. They'll read the books. I mean, even if you leave, if we decide, okay, this isn't your type of thing and you want to give it 1 or 2 stars, go ahead. I really don't mind. You're honest. That's how you feel. But I'm not kicking you out because I'm not happy with your stars. I just feel there's no reason for you to continue if you're not happy, if you disliked it that much. And I'm not going to change my story to make you like it. Let's get that straight. I'm not going to go, oh crap, well, if you're going to give me a 1 or 2, let me make you like it. Because at the end of the day, then someone else is not going to like it. And I love my stories the way they are, and I'm happy with how they are. So it's more a case of if you can't enjoy it, if it's not your type of thing, or I just write in a style that you just don't like, that's fine. I really don't mind. I'm not going to convert you. But I don't see the point for either you or me to remain, so it will just be a case of, okay, well then, cheers, pass back your lantern, we'll give it to someone else. So I'm working towards getting 7 that I want throughout this whole series. Now, obviously, if someone down the line decides, okay, well they can't anymore, they don't want to anymore, then we'll look for a replacement and get them to catch up. But the Lanternbearers is more than just an arc review. It's a journey for everyone. And you know, for every series that I create in a different part of my universe, there's going to be this approach, and we'll call it something else for that series. But this is really, I want to have it a dedicated team for this. And I've already, one of them, Justin, if I could call your name out, he's been with me from the start. He's been my biggest fan. He's commented so much that he loves it. Especially, he has a Silent Hill copy, the original Silent Hill copy. And because he's such a big fan, he actually is going to get the joke ending in my second book. Howard's going to be devoted to him. And because he came up with the idea of that, I'm not going to spoil it. But it was such a good idea that it's his. I'm naming that alternative ending after him. So, and this is the type of thing I want with my fans, the type of interaction I want. So yeah, the NDAs will be, I'll be sending out NDAs to the Lanternbearers first, and then they'll get their copies, the electronic Lanternbearer copies of Betrayal. Then I'm going to give a survey at the end of June with some questions, and that will determine whether you want to stay or not, and also that will be the decision of whether you transfer from an Ember Watcher to a Lanternbearer. And then after that we get into Obversion, guys. You will get advanced copies of Obversion before it releases. You will then get a chance to give me feedback. Now, I will need to stress this. I've put it on the Lanternbearer application page, and I need to stress this very much and explain why. And it's not an editing exercise. Yes, you guys can come to me and go, oh, by the way, I just picked up this one mistake, this comma's in the wrong place. Or that's fine. As Lanternbearers, you can come with me with those type of things. I do not want entire rewrites. I do not want you to come to me and go, this could have been written. This part could have been written much better. Or this chapter sucks. I think you should do this. I have a vision for my books. I know where they wanted to go. I like it the way it is. If you come with me with a concern that I feel, okay, this is quite valid, then I might consider it. I'm not looking for rewriters, guys. I'm not looking for editors. I've got those. I'm not coming for anyone to offer me marketing or book design. I've got that covered. All I want you to do is read the stories, come back to me with feedback in terms of the storyline, the characters, what you thought of the monsters, what you thought of the locations, and then obviously give me the reviews after the launch. So I'll mark you guys as Lanternbearers. You can even name yourself Lanternbearers when we get there. You can put it on the reviews so everyone knows this was a Lanternbearer review. They know you're part of the cycle. They can call you what they want. They can go, oh well, these guys suck up to the reader, so obviously he's going to give them 5 stars. Whatever. I'm so over those type of comments. I honestly couldn't care at this point. When I republished Sacred Valley Betrayal, the remake, someone gave me a 2-star review on the day it published without buying the book. And I feel sorry for you. I hope you go to a good place in the afterlife, because people like you are just mean, and there's no reason for you to be like that. Jealousy is a nasty thing. Grow up. Alright, so that's the Lanternbearers. So let's move on to the conclusion, and I just have a few more things to say. So before you go, I just want to cover a few other things. On my Selenic Earth Chronicles, I will do obviously its own transmission, but just quickly, those books were written during my early stages of writing, and even though I love those stories, I do realize they do need to be now re-edited, remade, to how I write today. And also just in terms of, I know I've been editing now for clients for the last 6 years. I've learned a lot, and I now want to relook at them, not change the story, everything will be the same, just in terms of how I write, the little mistakes I keep making, and also like apply the same editing skills that I did to Sacred Valley. So that's going to change, but that will be also done with the audiobooks that's coming, so that will be a separate announcement. There will be a different transmission for the full remake of that. Also, just quickly, Selenic Earth Chronicles will be made into a tabletop game, board game, like Dungeons and Dragons. It will be like Dungeons and Dragons, where I'm going to give you locations, I'm going to give you character classes, I'm going to give you everything, spells, powers, things, and you can build your own adventure in Selenic Earth. And I will give you quests. There will be side quests I'll be publishing separately, if you want help with quests or whatever. So, but that will all be part of the Selenic Earth transmission. I'll give you more details on that. But I now know, thanks to tabletop companies that I work with for my company, Selenic Earth Publications, how it's done. which means I can now do it too. I also just want to add that I've done Amazon A+ content for all my books on Amazon. And for those who don't know, and I'll shoot it up on the screen, basically it is just extra details with pictures to make you more excited about my books. It's on the Amazon pages. If you scroll down to features from the publisher, you'll see it there. Just nice little details added for that. Then just in terms of me, as in Shaun and Jooste and my universe, I've had a career shift. I left the company in January for personal reasons, content company, and I've gone my own way, focusing on myself, my businesses, my books, because I have my own businesses that I'm running. And since then I've got my own clients, and one of them was full-time, but it was a 3-month project, but they will be keeping me on, and I might be going back to full-time in the future. But for now, because I'm so far ahead with everything and they have to catch up with the designing part and all that, it will be half days for the next 2 months, which means I get to work more on my books, my universe, my projects. So you'll be seeing a lot more videos and content from me going forward. One of those are visual assets. I've always wanted to do. I've been posting so many visual assets across my social media, but I need a place to like show it off, a portfolio, so to speak. Now, I used to have it on my author website, but it looks ugly. It looks terrible there. And also it builds up on WordPress. You only have a limit to how much you can put there, really. It's not a great place to showcase it. So Google has a thing called Google Sites, where you can create a site for such a thing. For your portfolios. It's its own site on Google, and then what will happen is I'll put my visual assets on there and then link back to my author site or wherever my social media platforms, and then put those visual assets as a link on my author site. They'll still be there, but not shown off as much as on the Google site. It's actually just better to have it there. Anyone can do it. If you've got a Google profile, you can create a free Google site, if you didn't know this, and then you can just do portfolios or whatever, an author site on a Google site, which is great. You'll rank better because it's a Google site. But I'll just be using that for visual assets. And then if you do go to my author website, you'll see it's under construction. I'm redoing it. I'm going to showcase my author profile, my screenwriting profile, my poetry profile, my online content writing profile. I want a central place to show everyone my skills. It's going to help me for future work as well. And just a place for all you guys to see what I'm busy with, why I'm busy all the time. Just to share my experiences with you, in case you want to contact me and ask me about certain things. Like a lot of you asked me, how did I get a Silent Hill book written? What was the process? I can share with you how you can ask Konami to write Silent Hill books. But I can tell you, unless you're offering them a massive payoff, like massive royalties or upfront, they're not going to give it to you. Which is why I lost it. I couldn't offer them anything in terms of royalties or upfront payment, so it doesn't matter. I'm not sad about it anymore. It's just a case of it's actually better, and I'll do a video on that separately, why that decision actually worked out better for me. Okay, so I do have an upcoming interview with I think they're called Characteristics. I'll check it up and put it up on the screen. They want to interview me in June. I think it's the 29th of June, but I'll just check. They're going to interview me on the Sacred Valley horror series. And just fun stuff. We're just going to talk about writing in general and find out more about me. So if you follow me on social media, I'll share a lot about that there. Then just quickly, upcoming books that I'm working on. Open Door Erotic Thriller, which you'll see on my website. And then Malum, Rise of the Deadly Sins, which is inspired by the Diablo game series. And Rise of the Deadly Sins is the first book in the Malum series. So we're going to get into a lot of that soon. I started with that a few years ago, sharing details, and then I stopped. That's going to come back. You guys are going to get to know. I mean, Malum is just Latin for evil or Diablos. It's a Latin variation of Diablo. And then Rise of the Deadly Sins is the first book. It's going to be set in a little mining village. Very much like Diablo 1 was a little village, but instead of a cathedral, it's going to be doing with caves and dungeons under that cave, and different. There's going to be very different classes. We will have archers. There will be sorcerers or mages, as I call them in the book. There will be warriors. So those three classes will be there. But I'm going to have a necromancer, a single necromancer, for a very specific purpose. There will be barbarians. So it's very similar. If you play Diablo, you'll instantly love this, but there won't be game mechanics. I'm not going as far as Sacred Valley. There won't be game mechanics built into the storyline, but definitely exploration is key, and the story through them discovering things that are foreshadowing other things, like heavy puzzling, those type of things, to make you very interested in what's going to happen. Quests galore, Dungeons and Dragons type quests, fetch quests, find quests, discover quests, kill quests, whatever. It's just going to be crazy. And it's actually going to be a dark fantasy series, mixing horror with fantasy, like Diablo does. And it might actually be, I'm still deciding, one hell of a massive book, the first one. I want to go to shorter books because I realize I'm killing you guys with these big books. I mean, the Epic Fantasy series came in at 500 pages each. Sacred Valley Betrayal came in at 456, and Obversion is going to be bigger. So, and I'll get into another video as to why my books are so big. But I will Open Doors, a smaller book. Resilience, the Resilience series is based on Fallout. It's going to be a post-apocalyptic exploration horror book. That one I'm very excited about. The story in that is just lit. Oh my word, you guys are going to love it. But I don't want to share too much. But the story on that one, that's why I can't wait to get to it. But Resilience post-apocalyptic series is coming. And then that one's going to be quite big, but there are definitely shorter books. I'm going to fit in between Sacred Valley, Malum, and Resilience. Much shorter books. There are horror books, there are dramas, there are science fiction, and they're going to be 350 pages, somewhere around there. I'm not making them massive. And then just the merchandising will be across all of my books. The Amazon A+ content will be across all of my books. Featured videos, my YouTube channel is going to be big. Twitch channels is going to start getting big now. So it's time to really give you guys what I've been wanting to give you for a while, and I really hope that you're going to enjoy this journey with me. So thanks for joining my video. I hope you're excited about some of these announcements, and I'll see you guys soon. Thank you.